currently Mirage's biggest fans right now.
We'll get into the operator bans here on Clubhouse. Mirage have played this map a lot so far this stage. This will be their 4th time playing on Club, and their bans have been very consistent. The Capitao ban, an interesting one from TSM. That'll make clearing out those rafters very difficult for any attackers that want to take that route. Mirage have banned Hibana on all 3 attempts that they've gone to Clubhouse so far. Will they keep that trend up? Yes. Leaving Thatcher in the pool. This would have been known by TSM. Mirage accepting that Hibana will be taken out so that they can keep playing with Thatcher for these first 6 rounds. They've historically been banning out Wamai on their defensive rounds. Again, in the 2 matches that they've played, they've banned out Wamai. Once they've banned out Valkyrie. So we'll see what this ends up being. It will be Valk this time, so they're going to switch it up. Make sure that the Wamai is still in the pool. TSM could now ban it if they'd like, and it wouldn't shock me if they did, but the Kaid is going to be something that probably won't go. Yeah, Mirror getting taken out. Kaid would have been a good ban if Thatcher had been banned out as well, but with Thatcher on the board, you don't need to.
Oh boy. TSM FTX being in this position yet again. Do you remember last time? At stage 1, they had a game up against Disrupt. It was the very final game of their stage, and it was the winner of that matchup made top 4. We didn't have a major to play for back then, but this is still pretty familiar territory for TSM where their fate is very much in their hands. We're not looking at a case right now of whoever wins the game goes, like we had for both of the last 2 stages, but this is still prime time for TSM, and they have kind of fallen short of the marker, not just this stage, but overall. So giving them a really, really big boost in this game will hopefully give us a lot of faith in them when they go to Sweden, if that is what ends up happening in this matchup, because of the 4 teams going, if it's Dark Zero or TSM, I do question how well they'll do internationally because both of them seem to be struggling a little bit by comparison to the other 3.
And Jacob, as we load into the map here, I do want to pick your brain a little bit on who you think is going to come out on top here, because we have seen, Mirage play on Clubhouse a lot this stage. One thing Devin said on the desk is that they're getting better each time, right? 3 rounds the first time, then 4 rounds, then 6 rounds.
Yeah.
But the way I hear that is they lost the first time, then they lost, and then they lost again. So I don't know if the trend is really they're getting better or that they continue to fail. What do you think?
Not totally sure. I think it's really a case where the more rounds that they win, the more confidence that I've got, and just the fact that if we were seeing them do like a gradual decline and a gradual slip, then that would worry me a little bit more than what we've seen so far. So honestly, I'm kind of in Emzo's camp, but really this game is going to help like solidify what everyone's opinions are going to be of that situation. But we're finally here. The final road for TSM and for Mirage on Clubhouse. They've both liked this map in the past. Mirage have kind of gone back to it where they found success in stages 1 and 2, but they did just lose this to the Sonics in overtime. What I saw in that game from yesterday, by the way, was TSM barely winning and Mirage barely losing. So this game genuinely could be way closer than we give it credit for.
Round 1, TSM are defending Church Arsenal, and they've gone for a drone denial roam, rocking that Mozzie, rocking that Visual. Mute absent for now, but they've got the Cap Cannon set up below, and already an engagement. That's Diffuse Kit down as Gio finds the first kill of the match onto loading, and he still wants to fight this. Jacob, as he's full blind, he needs to get out of here because he could be able to get traded, but no, he's in the corner. Gio for the first 2 kills, and we've been talking about how he's been struggling so far this stage, but a huge way to start off this match.
Less than a minute gone, 3 kills already, but the Diffuse Kit is going to be the primary function, and still members of Mirage falling by the wayside. Benji, he's got control downstairs in blue, but he doesn't have Diffuser, so it's going to fall on Dream to go and try to find it himself, but there's still TSM surrounding it. Already 2 players making their way back towards Garage Storage on top of blue stairs. Gio's got help from Achieved, and he can make this drop into blue if he wants to pick Benji off immediately with no recourse. It'll take a second to drone. Everything beginning to slow down for Mirage a little bit. I think there still is a chance in this round, but it's going to be very minimal and will come down to TSM FTX not giving Mirage additional 1v1s because both Dream and Benji absolutely can win them, but they need isolated kills. Dream walks right in. Achieved is still waiting for him at the top of the hatch, and it all falls upon Benji with 4 kills to find. It looks pretty dire from here.
Yo, good start off. I don't know if you realized Achieved would be running there, but with the pre-fire, he's able to hit that headshot, and Achieved is going to fall. That leaves 3 opponents left to find, but he doesn't know Gio's position, or does he? Sprinting in, Benji, not the right call. Gio 3 kills on that round. And the thing I want to talk about is this was Geo on defense. And one stat that I brought up time and time again on defense is how much Geo's been struggling in the opening engagements on defense. Before this match, 0 and 14 for defensive opening engagements for Geo.
Yike.
Make that 1 and 14, as he now has gotten the first opening pick of this matchup, and a hugely impactful one at that.
Yeah, him getting aggressive going all the way up blue was a little shocking because if he's in those engagements, I don't really trust him to win those because he hasn't done that so far in this stage. Nice to see him pick up the pace a little bit, at least for the first round. It's also not the end of the road for Mirage, but it was a little surprising how fast they moved into blue and then how quickly Geo was able to capitalize and get the diffuser down, because once that happened, the entire attacking strategy that Mirage might have had was totally stalled. I mean, you saw how fast Benji got into Generator. He was down there in a moment's notice, lickety-split, but the rest of his team wasn't there to work with him in the speed that he was operating with, so it was kind of speed versus speed, and TSM won out in the end.
I mean, we have seen this before, right? For Mirage, when they have to attack into that drone denial hold, it's not out of the ordinary to see a team go for a rush in that situation, especially round 1. But for Mirage, I mean, they were just unfortunate that Geo was able to catch it. And the one thing I really liked about that was that after he got the opening pick, Geo rotated into the corner. I believe it was Nyx, was fully expecting him to have gone down the stairs to run away after he got flashed. But Geo kept playing aggressive, and man, it paid off so well.
That's a 4D chess moment right there.
Absolutely.
No, because you're right, you do expect him to go back down the stairs, but he waited in waiting. Waited in waiting? He was lying in wait. That's the phrase I'm looking for.
Well, Jacob, we're moving on to the second round. It's going to be gym bedroom for our bomb site, and it is going to be a cache extension, as we often expect to find on this bomb site. Be interested to see what Mirage want to do here. I know a lot of teams these days kind of just choose to give up CCTV cache. They want to focus fully on that jacuzzi wall. It's totally a valid way to do it because it can be very difficult to clear out the entire well of utility that can be over on that cache side, but we'll find out from the side of Mirage. It does look like they want to start off by going underneath the bomb site, seeing what they can disrupt. There's a lot of utility on the side of TSM, so these flashbangs and these nades will have to be aimed very precisely if they want to get through all this.
Looking at a lot of the secondary utility for Mirage, 9 breach charges. So you've got 3 flashes on Dream and then enough burn still left from Benji, but you're only looking at a Wamai, you're not looking at a Jaeger, so it's probably not the end of the world, at least for the side of Mirage. Just having an abundance of secondary utility like that won't be super useful in this case. For primary objective, we begin with Jacuzzi. That's one of the 2 things on this objective that needs to get taken down, and Shower might just be the other, and it will force Chala out of the shower position. So for the moment, he will need to take up refuge just outside Gold Vault, but the opening frag goes to Nyx, is achieved, gets removed from the field. He does have both those shields down, but you can already hear them exploding, which means the cover that Chala's gotten here is continuing to get less and less, but he won't worry about that. He will knock Nyx right off, and we go back to 4-4.
Mirage are going for the take. I was suggesting that they might, going primarily through Jacuzzi. Already more gunfights happening bottom of the main stairs. Everybody just gets shredded from TSM FTX, and Mirage, in the blink of an eye, these rounds are going so quickly, but they'll tie up the game regardless.
That was quick. Okay. So they get Jacuzzi open. There's someone sitting main stairs. I was looking for a Logi drop, but didn't quite see it toward like closer to the end. But all those kills in very quick succession, it seems like it was a very coordinated effort. Mirage either had a drone somewhere in the building or knew their timing enough to just coalesce and swarm around everyone on TSM, because it didn't really seem like there was someone in a position for a refrag on a defense. It was Chala kind of sitting back on the couch inside master bedroom and didn't have a lot of protection, especially with the window and the showers and Jacuzzi being open and all those long angles to watch. The TSM just getting a little bit surrounded, and Mirage do a really good job to take advantage.
I feel like we're seeing a lot of confidence come out from Mirage in these first couple of rounds, and I really do like to see that. You know, you're going up against a team like TSM that is just absolutely chocked full of gunplay. We saw how well Achieved was able to do that in the last Playday. We've seen that from Bolo, we've seen that from Merc, and even Geo, who I've been pretty harsh on the desk, you know, over the last stage or so, but he's had his moments, and right now in this game, of course, he's been a big player for TSM as well. But I love how Mirage aren't afraid to get into this building and just take those fights, right? The biggest advantage the attackers have that early is that, you know, they're not going to be expecting when you just run into the building like that. Maybe you haven't cleared all the utility by now, maybe you haven't droned everything, but when you can have that element of surprise, it can often make a big difference, and Mirage have tried that twice now, and at least once it's worked out.
Do you want to draw attention to that Capital ban as well?
Yeah.
We have both a Jaeger and a Wamai in play for this round. TSM on defense first. Banning Capital means if you don't win CCTV twice, I don't really know what you're doing. So I will put the pressure on TSM. You gotta win because of that amount of Raptors protection that you've got, unless Mirage decides to put 2 or 3 men towards doing nothing but taking a Raptors objective. So we'll see how they're able to take this for one moment. I do think the first step is ensuring plat wall gets open. Does the trick succeed? It does not. So that's one thing taken, but the other objective that Mirage can go for, is it server window, is it construction, is it red stairs? I don't know how willing they'll be to go for a Raptors take, given the Capital ban and Geo's power position in Raptors with 2 ADSs. So if they do that, it's going to waste a lot of time and utility. They might be served going someplace else.
Wow, Geo from the Raptors gonna get a second opening pick on defense, this time onto Dream, who is just too foolhardy to stand in front of that doorway, drops the diffuser. It should get picked up relatively easily. That's gonna be a little bit of extra time that Mirage didn't want to have to spend, and of course, that's your thermite gone. Now, he had opened up the wall, so primary objective has been finished, but you've still got Nyx here in the behind, who has used all of his Selma charges as well, so might be lacking a little bit on that hard breach. I want to see if they've opened up the garage panels below. If that's all already open, then they shouldn't have any problems. And looks like those are closed, so this could be an issue. Losing Dream, not ideal after you haven't opened up that, nor have you opened up the construction wall.
Everyone on TSM FTX are still relatively close to the bomb site, with the exception of Merc, who's still working on the construction roam as Mozzie at the minute. So anywhere that Mirage go, there is going to be someone from TSM lying in wait. And Bolo is actually still in below. He is outside kennels, or inside blue at the minute, waiting for a chance to strike. And this might just be an opportunity for Mirage to push right in, but there's still so many players that are going to watch these straight angles, so it's not advisable for Mirage to take this just yet. If there isn't anything else cleared, but Loading is going to storm right into server window. He'll find one frag. Thomas will do the same, and Plant's going down to the default spot. Loading tries to hold across. Nitro Cell gets shot, and this Plant will go down without anything that TSM FTX can do about it. Loading and Nyx both killed by Bolo. Storming back up Raptors. Thomas trying to make a difference. It all falls to Benji back on the rappel, so this retake for TSM may just work out, and it does. Bolo, 3 kills on the round, and TSM FTX get another on the board.
Well, that's why he's the best player in the game, Jacob.
Yes,
Bolo,
sir.
huge flank. I mean, you got to talk about, again, Mirage maybe jumping the gun a little bit, trying to go in for that site as quickly as they did. It wasn't like a rush that we saw the first 2 rounds, but again, you're seeing them maybe skip a couple of steps. They're not clearing as much utility. They're not clearing a lot of the map before they're just deciding to walk into the bomb site, enter in through the breach, and try to get that plant down. And yeah, to their credit, they got that plant down. They had control of the bomb site, but because they didn't take that time to clear out the rest of the map, Bolo came up from a roam and was able to have a huge impact on his return to site. And I want to say, this is a position we've seen Bolo take multiple times in the past. Assuming Mirage have done the research, they should have known that Bolo likes to play that Wamai sort of in the basement, roaming around when they defend that bomb site. He's one of the few Wamai players on that site that won't sit Rafters and throw his magnets all over the place. And with that Capital ban, I mean, you really don't need the Wamai up there anymore. Typically, that's why he's there, to catch those crossbow bolts. But he often does like to play down below, and unfortunately for Mirage, they just didn't have that flank watch to catch him as he rotated up through Garage.
Does make it infinitely harder to take Raptors, given the way that TSM kind of set themselves up. But Mirage still had an objective. The first kill was Benji onto Geo, killing the Raptors position, and they tried to move quickly. They said, you know what, server window and plat wall, that's a pretty good 1-2 punch. Let's see if we can work from north to south or east to west. It wasn't quite to be. And TSM doing a really good job of just staying fast, holding firm, and Bolo obviously with the 3K turns it into a TSM FTX round. However, welcome back to church. In their case, nothing for Mirage, where it seems as though it's shifted since the beginning of the match. And TSM, for their own part, I'm seeing a Vigil, I'm seeing a Mozzie, I don't see a Mute. Why is there a cap can here?
Yeah, well, this is interesting. I thought it was the first time being brought just to surprise your opponents. Like, if you don't know there's a cap can, you know, you're more likely to run into those. But now this is the second time the Bolo has shown off the cap can and is going to be playing it here on this defense. To be fair, Mirage didn't really have much an opportunity to run into those cap can traps, so maybe it will still be a bit of a surprise. What a shot from Achieve to open us up onto Nyx. I was just going to talk about how it's likely Mirage will go for a different take this time around, considering how poorly the last one went. going for that full clear, but that makes it kind of difficult. Another gunfight in bathroom as Chala takes down Thomas. The aggression coming in from TSM, showing they are not afraid of Mirage. They're willing to take these gunfights, and so far, Jacob, it has gone perfectly.
Loving these swings. There's still so much of a power position vertically that Merc holds upstairs in Logistics office. They're setting themselves up for success incredibly well. This was a problem for Mirage back at the beginning of the stage of taking 1v1 gunfights and sometimes putting themselves into a 1 versus 2, and no one's there for a trade or a refrag opportunity, nothing. They didn't buddy up as this stage started, and Merc is still going to wreak havoc upstairs in Logistics. He can give himself an entry route as well, and Benji just says, you know what, screw this. I can't do anything up top. I'll go straight into Generator and try to make something happen, but this already looking very much like deja vu of round 1, where it was Dream and Benji alive against the entire TSM FTX repertoire.
Doesn't even matter if you have a drone on Merc, he's still winning the gunfights. I mean, this is a tough spot for Mirage. Benji inside of blue has roamers above him that he's aware of. He's just waiting for them to push him because he really can't focus on pushing the site when he knows he's about to get flanked. Tough spot to be in. He does take a gunfight with Chala, which he walks into the Surya gate after taking all the damage. Dream from Dirt going for the ace clutch, but Jacob, this is too difficult for him. Achieved, finishes it the way he started with a nice frag, and that's going to be TSM going up 3-1.
That's a shame. It's almost like, you know how we are always like shocked every time someone like dies from a Kaida electric claw or something? It's like that moment is so unexpected. But we are going to see a timeout from Mirage. I think this is a good time right now to stave off any potential for a relegation situation. We've talked about them being at the bottom of the NAL table for the majority of the stage. But I do want to direct your attention to the scoreline of TSM FTX, because remember, all they need is 6 rounds in this map, and they go to a major. They're halfway there already. On defense, on Clubhouse. So everything kind of seems like it's lining up for TSM. All the planets are getting in order and everything's about to give them all of the success they need. All they have to do is push through, get 2 more rounds on this defense, and then 1 attack someplace. Even if they lose this game in overtime, they're still guaranteed for the major, so these next couple of rounds are incredibly important for them.
I think starting on defense on Clubhouse has kind of given them that boost to really take this early advantage. I don't know if it'll continue in that second half, but I mean, with the Thatcher allowed, usually we do see this go a little bit more 50-50. It honestly hasn't been so much the map that's, I think, given us the favor of TSM, as much as it has been just them taking those gunfights, being aggressive, being willing to surprise Mirage. And yeah, as you said, Jacob, they are halfway to the major, at least so far for today. We've got another gym bedroom setup, and it looks to be the exact same as what we saw before. It is a cache extension, not a ton of utility on that side of the map, however. A lot of these shields and such coming in from Achieved have been used sort of elsewhere around the bomb site, so we'll see what they want to do. Not a lot of reinforcements, particularly dedicated to the CCTV cache side, so going to be interested to see if that's going to change things up for Mirage, if they want to now this time take cache and try to push in from the east side of the map.
Seems like Achieved might be going back to bomb, so if anything, it would be Bolo trying to defend inside of Cache for as long as he can. And Geo can wait inside Gold Vault for a potential Logi drop if that's where Mirage want to take things from. But they were successful mostly with the Jacuzzi push back in round number 2, and I'm curious about how much of this attacking strategy is going to mirror what worked back then. Dream's got the exothermic on the wall, but he'll wait a moment before he blows it as Thomas tries to nullify some utility with Ash from below. The wall has been opened. So the question becomes for Mirage, where else do you go? What's the other thing, the other factor that will force TSM into a corner and allow Mirage to kind of ensnare them like a cobra and see if they can't get their second win?
Achieve thought he was slick, moving those shields from the cache side over to the bedroom so that he could counter what Mirage were doing for a take, and then immediately destroyed from below, both of them. Great utility clear coming in from Mirage. This is the one bomb set that they've been able to win so far, and it was this take that was successful for them. Hasn't been as fast this time around. Approaching that minute mark and still no kills. As I say that, Achieved through the bars, looking for a frag. He's done this plenty of times on Sledge. Roles reversed a little bit here in this gunfight. He's going to choose to back off because of it. They're able to open up both set of walls. I don't believe this is something they were able to do last time, opening Jacuzzi and then moving on to open up the bathroom wall as well. Going to give them a lot of angles from outside of the buildings, a lot of these long angles that they can use to pressure TSM and cut off some of these rotations that they'd like to be doing from construction, from cache, if they want to go all the way back from where their roaming positions are, because this could be really hectic as we approach the final 45 seconds.
Nick's about to come right in. Everyone trying to jump out and look for kills, but Loading has got 2 right off the rip, and Chala again in the same position he was before, making a triple kill for Loading. And right now, Geo and Merc trying to make it happen themselves. They cannot. Not Loading with an ace, and gives Mirage their second round. 2 straight gym attacks, both of them going the way of the Owls.
Line them up and knock them down. Loading with the 5K here in round number 5. You love to see it. I don't know what it is about Gym Bedroom, but Mirage, their takes here looking so clean. 2 different styles of takes, right? The first time around, they came into Gym Bedroom, they hit it so fast. They opened up the jacuzzi wall, they were saying, we're going to take advantage of the fact that you don't realize we're already inside your site, we're rushing at you, we're taking these gunfights, and we're going to win them. This time around, taking their time, destroying that utility from down below, making sure you have that bottom floor covered so you're not going to get flanked when somebody runs up the main stairs, and then opening both sets of walls, walking forward, and taking those gunfights. Loading is a player that we have criticized in the past for being, maybe not the smartest in the way he's taking gunfights, but
we did used to criticize.
Yeah, a while ago. That's not happening anymore, and that's exactly why Loading now with 6 kills will be the lobby leader as we head into round number 6.
That is ridiculous. You remember back when we were criticizing Loading really heavily in stage 1, and then he tweets afterwards, like after the stage is done, where he does way better, like thanks for the tough love and all that. That was probably my favorite story overall of the whole stage, was how well Mirage was doing back then. Granted, it was with hot and cold, but everyone on that team had to step up to give them the 3rd place finish that they had in stage 1. And it was honestly really heartwarming to see, like, hey, I took that to heart, and it wasn't really the biggest deal in the world because I pushed through it and I improved. And all we want to do is see these guys improve, and for Mirage to do that, and for Loading especially to have performances like that, I don't know if I would have trusted them to get that ace back in stage 1.
No.
I'll be completely honest.
No, Loading was kind of bad back in stage 1. Like when Mirage first entered the league, it was a rough start. But you know what? Playing fantastic so far these last couple of stages, and that round was a highlight for him for sure. But let's move on to round 6. This is going to be the one that decides if it'll be an even 3-3 split or if TSM will be able to go up 4-2 on their defensive half. Last time we saw some bandit tricking coming out, I believe it was from Achieved. He's moved over to the Goyo this time, relying a little bit more on these shields, this utility to help out TSM FTX in this final round of the half. And it makes sense, right? If you know they're willing to spend a bunch of EMPs to open up that wall, you're not going to bandit trick it anyways. But it means that since they haven't brought the bandit, Mirage haven't bothered with any of the EMPs. They've just opened this without having to use any of them. So these can now be utilized to try to help out Rafters, destroying those ADSs if they'd like, or if they want to move into site and try to throw those in, or take from construction. There's a lot of options on the board still for Mirage.
They've got the Monty, I think, wanting to make a move onto Raptors at some point, but they do have holes this time, so their take is completely different. They understand the importance of this position. They've got Plat Wall, but they want Raptors too. So Monty's going to create havoc as Geo has to focus his attention there. Elsewhere, Bolo gets nuked by Thomas with the G36C, but Geo right now, Thermite's about to come up and pressure him. His position is being known. The pings are coming through. Geo still wins the fight with a perfect headshot. So up from Harry Potter, they've got one more opportunity to win this, and Loading will actually do it this time. So now, firm Rafters control in TSM FTX. They have lost this incredibly pivotal position, and now the crossfires can be established from Mirage as they go for the plant. At the minute, Nyx is the one with Diffuser. He does not have smokes. I don't think anyone on this team has got that for additional cover. So if it happens, you have to hope someone from TSM, either Achieved or Merc, doesn't have a Nitro cell from down below to blow this, because it's going to make things way more difficult. And I think Mirage, they understand they don't really have a perfect strategy to defend this because Dream is dead, so they'll take a second and figure out what they want to do to get this Diffuser down.
Nyx not bringing those smokes, so they had to bring the hard breach charge to get into that garage from down below. An important moment there because Dream had died walking into garage as well, so that's going to leave no more hard breach left in the pockets of Mirage, but they've gotten the tools that they need. 45 seconds on the clock as they're going to try to make their way into the site. They've now opened up a path that the Monty can hopefully fit through. Hopefully it's tall enough that he can walk through with a shield. He's gotten in regardless. Nyx standing in the corner, a big C4 hitting onto Loading. That means Thomas has to pick up his defuse kit. He's got to go for this plant. Interesting, they're not letting Nyx do this. It's going to be all into Benji to cover. Nyx can call for intel, but that's going to be about it. Thomas also dying to a C4. That's 2 of the planters both going down to the Nitro cells, and now TSM have to advance and take the gunfights. They're both back inside a cache. Achieved with a big one into Nyx, who can't do anything. Benji now alone in the 1v3, no time, and Achieved will hit the headshot to close it out. It's going to be a 4-2 half for TSM FTX.
2 Nitro Cell kills from below, denying 2 separate attempts to get that diffuser down in the spot everyone knows about. It seemed like Mirage had the advantage. They're up 4-3. They're looking for a chance to just get that down. They have Benji on Rappel outside plat wall, the same spot that he was back in round 3 the first time TSM defended it. You have 2 players on rafters looking for a chance to make it happen, but what do you not do? Clear below, because that is why the verticality on this map matters, and this site in particular matters so damn much. Mirage miss one very crucial step, and all of a sudden TSM FTX take advantage even despite being down 1 critical man. And I mean, to Geo's credit, he also wasted a hell of a lot of time up in rafters up until they were able to get that frag. And I'd even argue the fact that it was Dream who pushed up first with that smoke meant that there wasn't really anything Mirage could do aside from go into a default plant spot and hope no one was there with a Nitro.
I really wish we would have seen Mirage maybe go for kills in that round. Just running deep into the cache site would have maybe been better because of all those Nitro cells down below. Having a Monty makes that kind of tough, but at the end of the day, it was the call they made, and it didn't end up working out for them. Important to note for Mirage, we've talked a lot about how this game is important for TSM. They want to make it to the major, but Mirage are still a little bit worried about relegations. Now, they're at 7 points, whereas there's a couple teams at 6. They're not worried about the tiebreaks as much, but if we go through this play day and we see Beast Coast getting some more points, we see XSEC getting some more points, Mirage could be in the hot seat. They could be the team that get eliminated here. So Mirage, if they could even pick up 1 or 2 more points, that would be huge for them just to secure themselves, get some peace of mind. No, you don't have to play in relegations for sure when we get into that US final, or the NA finals in a couple of months here.
Yeah, the last thing you want is for everyone else to be playing games around you and for you to know that you didn't get any on the day, and you kind of have to sit back and wait and hope that other teams do worse than you did. That's
a stressful spot.
Yeah, because you want to have agency over your own future, and at the minute, Mirage have a little bit of that, but not by much. So even 1 point, yes, it does deny TSM immediately from qualifying for the major, but anything that Mirage can do is going to be a big help right now.
Capcan, a popular guy on these drone denial roams of Church Arsenal. Both teams now bringing him out on the 3 rounds that we've seen this strategy get played out. TSM not opting for a rush. They're going to go for this full clear up against the Mirage boys who are roaming from top to bottom all over this map. Looks like most of the clears coming in. We've got a couple players over by Master side. We do have some work being done on this platform wall as well, as Charles is going to get that open now. We see Tommy running back to the bomb site, Benji dropping as well. As we just passed that 2-minute mark, I think Mirage are going to call it that they need 5 players on site. That's a little early for my taste, Jacob.
Yeah.
Usually on a drone denial roam, I'd like to see maybe like a minute 30, even 1 whole minute, because when you're running this strategy, you've kind of put all of your eggs in the roaming basket. So unless you're doing some crazy late flank up the stairs like Nyx might be trying to go for right now, this is kind of a costly strategy.
Yeah, considering if you have a cap can, you don't just want to put them up and then like leave them there and hope that someone runs into them. Like that does work in gold. In this case, you need to be able to force some of the attackers to run into them, which does require you to be present kind of around where you want them to run through carelessly without droning. And that's not something that TSM is going to do. They're very effective with their intel game, and they have been so far through this map, but I do agree, it's a little bit early for them to come back from this. However, we are still at a minute, and we're only just now seeing one of these hatches getting worked on, so it will come down to how TSM capitalizes on all of this additional time that Mirage has given them.
Worth noting as well, I mean, this gunplay hopefully won't end up for anything for Nyx if the Maverick play is true from Geo. Usually it's Merc playing the Maverick for TSM, so this actually does give potential for a kill, but Nyx will back off anyways. Notably, I wanted to say double soft breach being brought in from TSM, so they should have a lot of, they should be able to open up these floorboards very quickly and try to get that vertical advantage. But as we hit the 30-second mark, a couple of key angles still not opened up. This kitchen hatch in particular just now being worked on as they're going to get it at about 25 seconds.
I want to say he did manage to keep the hatch shut at this point, does Thomas. No more impacts left, so it might come down to TSM trying to get it opened up, but the fact that the hatch is closed is going to be a huge problem to how they manage to get this drop. And right now, Geo only has one of them open, so it could be Moto. Merc gets slapped from blue, and everyone on Mirage is finding their kills. Achieve, the only man left alive is Mirage, have managed to stall this attack. That was a perfect, absolutely perfect impact trick from Thomas. It means TSM can't get into Arsenal or Armory, and all of a sudden, this game is way closer than we thought.
All right, Mirage. I was, again, worried about that early round, the fact that they fell off so quickly, but TSM were giving that roam a little bit of respect. They were doing all of the droning. They were checking all the corners, and that slowed them down a little bit. Didn't allow them to start working on those hatches until a bit later. And as you mentioned, the impact trick to keep that kitchen hatch closed came in so huge, because that meant if the plant was going to go down through kitchen hatch into armory, you can't do that anymore. So they had to scramble, get down those main stairs, take those gunfights. Again, the vertical pressure was there, but it didn't result in any kills. And that's weird when you've got Achieved on the sledge. You got a buck being brought by Merc as well. These are players you expect to be able to do a lot of damage from up above, but unfortunately, just too vigil on the side of Mirage, not being caught by that top-down pressure, and with it, they're only one round away from tying it up against TSM.
Yeah, man, that happened even when we were like, wait, Mirage should waste more time up top. We didn't have to worry about that. TSM, I do think, had a lot of control. They just didn't use it very effectively, which is a damn shame considering if they had a little bit more drone working, maybe could have gotten towards the hatches at, say, I don't know, even a minute 20, even 20 seconds before Geo started working on Moto Hatch, they would have had more time to move in, coordinate a double drop, which is what it seemed like they were going for, because no one was really down main stairs at that point. It was Merc and Generator, it was Geo on Moto, and then it was 3 players alive in Kitchen. So that seemed to be where TSM had went before. It's also notable because back when they played the Sonics 2 play days ago, the first time that we saw Chala as an IGL for this team, that's what they did. They went for 2 consecutive kitchen drops with Diffuser into a really weird spot back in the corner in Armory, or in Arsenal, and it looked like it was just down to Bolo being incredible on his main stairs cross that won them those rounds, but in this case, it's not the bait.
Interesting setup from Mirage. Mute Monzi is not typically a combo you associate with CCTV Cash, but they're going to rock it anyways and have a pretty heavy roam game. Nick's going to be the brunt of that down in the basement at the moment. Going to counter any bottom-up pressure that TSM are going to try to utilize, most likely with Merc and Achieved, going for that pressure to deal with perhaps the Mute Jammers or Electric Quads. They're going to be all over the place. Particularly this one on the wall is going to make it very difficult. You saw all the holes that they made in the soft wall before placing that, and loading slams Bolo with the headshot, beautifully done. I didn't even realize he got a kill until it was already in the kill feed. That was an insane shot. He's going to get the opener because of it, and hey, it pays off when you're able to slowly open that wall with the Maverick. Gives the defender some time to peek up, get that kill, hide back behind the shield. Beautifully played by Chase.
They've got plat wall open. What else do they go for is the main question, because storming in directly into plat without having some other part of the map under your control is not going to be the way TSM win this round, especially given how entrenched Mirage are with a man advantage. Benji's only got 1 ADS up with him in Rafters. Geo had 2 back when TSM was defending on this bomb site. We'll give it a moment and understand exactly how TSM want to take this. I'm looking for some more speed on attack, which is the thing that they did lack a little bit in their previous attempt when they were going for Church. It took a long time for them to really move into position. So I wonder if Mirage can capitalize on TSM perhaps being a little bit slow on the upkeep right now, but it seems like Benji's their first target.
Yeah, going to be taking a lot of pressure now. The fact this garage panel got opened up so quickly is a big deal, because it's the reason why that's possible is because the Electric Claw wasn't used on that Rafter. Here we have loading with another big kill, though. Nick's got one as well, and all of a sudden, Jacob, TSM are scrambling to get back inside of the building. They have the defuse kit on the ground outside the building as well. Loading, playing behind the shield. You just can't handle this, man. It's another one with the TCSG, and Merc all alone, attempting the ace clutch. Doesn't even get the chance. Thomas with a beautiful shot there. You just can't deal with Chase behind a shield.
I mean, I'm the kind of person who uses Kaid with the AUG, but if you're doing that good with the TCSG, I mean, it takes a special kind of man to be able to operate it with that much gumption. And just look at how precise he was with that thing. To be fair, it kind of was being fed kills as TSM funneled into plat looking for an opportunity, because that shield was never dealt with. You have an ADS still to clear there, yes, but there were more of them being used on the bomb site proper than there were for Rafters, which meant that Mirage had more freedom and flexibility with where to put them, and it seemed as though it wasn't something where TSM wanted to devote any additional utility to removing it. They didn't have an Ash, they had an Ace, but it wasn't being used. No, they didn't have an Ace, they had a Maverick, which is why all of this was not clearable for TSM. When we saw Mirage attack on that bomb site, they had an Ash, they used it from below, they cleared that utility when they were on the second floor. But now it's something that TSM kind of has to come back from.
Difficult.
Look at that skin.
Yeah, beautiful skin from Mirage, absolutely. I think that's my favorite. I think of all of these, of all the skins, I mean, APAC had some good skins as well.
Yeah.
I want to shout out the Wildcard skin, the Cyclops skin for sure, but
The Wildcard
Mirage,
skin, straight up, man.
Mirage's skin is amazing as well, and as they come in here to a tie game, of course, they're going to be wanting to secure the dub, they're going to be wanting to avoid relegations, but they also want they want to impress their fans so they can sell more skins, Jacob. At the end of the day, this is all what it's about, right?
I have to apologize for not working within the same system as everyone else. I got gifted the skin.
What?
By Ollie.
What?
Yeah. I didn't have to buy it.
I didn't get gifted anything.
I got bribed that skin.
I'm the Canadian.
And he wanted me to give an honest opinion when I made my tier list about it. And he's like, don't put it right in S tier. I want to know what you thought about it. I gave it an A. I gave it an A. It was very, very good skin.
I can't believe this. I'm never cheering for Mirage again. Let's go Bolo.
I also got gifted the Cyclops one if it makes you feel any better.
That doesn't. That makes me feel worse. Those are the two best skins, Jacob.
Yep. They really are the two best skins.
What the hell?
At least not by the tier list anyway.
Okay.
I'm sorry if I've angered a whole bunch of fans by revealing this information to the public.
Yeah,
but,
you have.
It's all good. Maybe one day you'll get gifted the Mirage skin.
Well, maybe
It'll be in the store for a long damn time.
that's true. I've already bought it, so maybe we'll get something else gifted. But Jacob, we've got a round underway already. 50 seconds gone, and it's a cache extension as well, but it's very different. A lot more of reinforcements being utilized here by Mirage on the cache side. TSM used I think one reinforcement here, maybe two, whereas you can see everything is closed down from cache on the side of Mirage. So a lot of resources from TSM going to have to be used to open this up. They're going to have to use some hard breach. They're using some EMPs already to try to get this open. The second one getting thrown in here.
Here we go.
A nade over the wall as well. Achieved is known for hitting these, but unfortunately that one didn't quite land the way he wanted it to, and Benji lives to fight another day from below, able to deny some of those utility bits, and this is a lot of time wasted already from Benji just inside of cache.
Gio can go for the swing, and he could probably make it, and honestly, Benji kind of makes it easier for him and comes into his direct line of fire on the table. So Gio does now have the first kill. Finally, Benji out of the fray, but that was 1 minute and 40 seconds wasted on nothing but a cache extension, and no one from TSM was logistics or jacuzzi or main stairs, nothing. It is solely west or east to west at this stage in the game for TSM. So what they need is to pick the pace up a little bit more. I think the cross angle, if achieved, wants to hold it from the master window was a nice one. If they want to open up gym window as well, look all the way down to jacuzzi wall. They've got some options here. It's not like they're completely dead in the water, but it will require them to move from cache into construction a little bit quicker than they have so far. And nope, their priority has now shifted directly to jacuzzi. Loading does get the trick off. That is huge for Mirage to hold on to this round for as long as they can.
They had to use 2 EMPs over on the side of the cache hold, and that meant they only had one, so they couldn't stop that trick happening over on the jacuzzi wall. Beautifully played by Loading, and that's that resource management. The TSM just fumbling a little bit. Now they've got 30 seconds to try to vault in through windows and push from construction. Not going to be the best take. Loading almost finds another head, as he's so used to doing with that weapon, but unfortunately, ducking back into construction for a moment. It's going to keep TSM alive. They still have to get in, though. Chala's in and planting. Merc got a kill as well. This is a 2-man advantage, but this is the push from Dream. Does get traded out, but this is going to be a big frag with only 7 seconds. They got to pick that back up. Merc gets a double kill, but Thomas denying again. 1v2 now, 1v1. Thomas with the triple. Merc's got to keep this planted, but he can't do it. Saves the KD, and a big round coming in from Mirage. They take the lead.
Everyone from TSM was getting their frags, but who's the last guy they leave alive? The hype man on Mirage, Thomas in the flesh, manages to get the 1 kill to stop the diffuser, like the 3rd time TSM was trying to get the diffuser down, and swings back around to the top of main stairs. The SMG... For those who don't quite know what a world tour is, this is something that Jesse came up with that I've used in cast for like a long time. I think I stole it from him, honestly.
I think I stole it from somebody. I don't remember who.
Did you? Well, the idea is if you win all 3 defensive sites and then you go to the other site that wasn't used after you won those 3, and then you win all 4 individual sites all in a row, that's a world tour.
Yes.
You literally win around the world. You circumnavigated the globe and won every single site on the map.
Yeah, not easy to do. Some maps easier than others, but
True.
Clubhouse, historically, probably the hardest map to perform a world tour on. Because Barstock, previously, so terrible. Awful site.
Yep.
Nowadays, it's okay. We've seen some teams experimenting with it. Europe has done some cool things with Barstock. North
Europe
America
had like a 63% win rate on it at one point, and I think like CDAPS and Challenger League absolutely lost his marbles at it. It was so funny.
NA's a little far behind, I would say, in the Barstock. I don't know if I've seen a great Barstock round, but I will say Mirage actually were the first North American team ever to to play bar stock after the update. They had a really bad setup and got destroyed. So
it wasn't great.
Maybe that's why we haven't seen it so far in the World Tour attempts.
Probably not. Well, can't be bar stage this time. We are back down to church, and this was an example of Mirage really hammering it home on TSM, who only had a strategy of drop 2 hatches and hope that Merc can create some kind of impact from Generator. How much more time can Mirage waste on this attempt? They only, I mean, it seems as though it's mostly a turtle setup, with the exception of Benji and Nyx, who are upstairs trying to get, or make sure Plat Wall stays closed for as long as possible. This is a really, really good thing for Mirage, assuming TSM doesn't read into how many players are upstairs and tries a very quick sight hit. But for the moment, it doesn't really seem as though that's the idea they're going with.
Capcam being played by Benji up on the rafters. Notably, we haven't had an update come through. This is still the old patch, and so we don't have Benji being able to stack those on windows or doorways or anything like that, but still would be nice to be able to force your opponents to go for that shot, right? Even if they know that a Capcan charge is there, they do have to go in and shoot it, which can give an opportunity for you to take a advantage gunfight. He's facing a lot of pressure right now. Oh, Benji! Doesn't matter the pressure he's facing. He'll just find Merc regardless. And Mirage, consistently, although they're not in the best situations, they find the shots anyways. And he gets a second one on to achieve. Geo clears with the player top red and will finally shut down the menace that is Benji and Rafters. But by God, I think it's too late, Jacob.
Yeah, and that's also enabled Nyx to get the heck out of dodge. That's 2 kills straight away. The Kaid manages to escape the wrath of Geometrics, and that's not something that they're able to work with anymore. So both Thomas and loading back on the bomb site, Nyx escapes into blue, so he's got box control. TSM, what's going right for them right now? They've got Diffuser, they've got 2 Exothermics, they've got 2 Selmas left, and they've got majority torches remaining. So if anything, they can get some hatches, assuming that they haven't been kaided. But honestly, I'll make the argument you probably need to find a way to pressure together, at least 2 players moving at the same time rather than 3 people being split. But it does look as though everyone on TSM is not together at the minute.
I'll draw your attention to the left-hand side of your screen. Only 1 drivable drone on the side of TSM FTX. Geo has 1 that he can control. Otherwise, they've got no way to collect information. So going to be starved for that. Also starved for soft breach, right? They cannot open up many of these floorboards. It's going to be very difficult unless they want to use shooting through the floorboards with a fast gun. I mean, that's not really going to work out for you. So they're going to walk into blue anyways, try to take this gunfight. Dirt is boarded up, Jacob. They're not going to be as sneaky as they want to be here.
As soon as Bolo opens this up, Kaid's going to have to swing back, but he might not even need to. Nope, he will immediately if Nyx just presses mouse 1. He's got a free kill. Instead, Bolo will still find it, but they've lost Geo in the process. With 15 seconds to go, Dream can make the swing back around. It falls on Shala. The clutch master on TSM can't make it happen, and Mirage all of a sudden are on match point. They've won 5 in a row.
That's been a huge comeback for Mirage, and Benji's been the biggest reason in that round, being able to play up in Rafters. And we saw this the last play day as well. First couple of rounds, Benji was huge on the roam, having massive plays, and he hasn't been a player that we've really talked about, I would say, enough this stage. He is the young fragger on the side of Mirage, the one who's supposed to be getting those flashy picks on the roam, right? And this week, he has just been on fire, being able to rack those up for his team. It was a big reason why Mirage went off to an early lead yesterday. And he's a big reason why Mirage are now in the position that they're at. 6-4, match point, as you said. And TSM, if they don't get any points here, they have to be so worried about what Dark Zero will do at the end of the day.
Yeah, right now, Dark Zero looking at what Mirage are doing and thinking, thank you so much for all that you've done for us. After Dark Zero had a pretty disastrous performance earlier today against Astralis. TSM still require 1 point from this match to get to Sweden. However, there is the possibility that Dark Zero could not get the 3 points required against Beast Coast, which would still mean that TSM qualify for Sweden anyway, but their fate is still, would they prefer it for it to be in their hands. All they need to do is force overtime.
Yeah, if everybody fails today, then TSM can go by default.
True,
because they were already in the top 4 spot. So if Dark Zero lose both their games and TSM lose their game, then by default they get to go. So that's probably going to be the most likely way for TSM to make Sweden at this point, which isn't what they wanted, but ultimately that might be what they have to rely on. Now, we've got the same CCV cache setup that they were running before with Nyx on this wild Mozzie roam that he was working with last time. Gonna be interested to see if the electric claws are in the same spot. I believe they are. One being utilized, loading trying to trick here on the platform wall. Again, though, with the Maverick, it's not going to be the biggest deal in the world. They can open this up regardless. And since they've started to commit with the Geo with the blowtorch, it's unlikely that they're now going to rotate Shala around to bring the exothermic.
Yeah, look at the ADS positions as well that are going to be protecting loading in the exact same position that he was before. TSM, sometimes a very adaptable team. I'm going to hope and pray that they understand what they didn't do right last round and correct for it here, because this is still going to be a massive issue for them to deal with. They haven't forced Benji out of a Raptor spot, but they now do have the wall open and 2 minutes with which to work. Geo, unfortunately, falling by the wayside himself. Benji gets the kill straight through plat wall as soon as it gets opened up. I mean, Geo's kind of already done his job, but he did have 8 kills. He was one of the best fraggers on the team up until this point, so that's a big operator to lose, especially since he still had his frag grenades in his back pocket.
Doesn't matter the site. Benji on Raptors is just a monster. They could be defending CCTV Cash, they could be defending Church Arsenal, they could be defending on Villa, and he'd still be on Raptors, hitting these shots. Huge stuff coming in on the smoke this time around to be able to shut down, get that opening pick onto Geo. Now, we've talked about the hard breach a lot this matchup. Bolo's still going to have a lot in his pockets, so they're going to be just fine as they continue to work their way into Garage. Seems like it's going to be the take. Both these teams more or less always favoring Garage, despite the fact that Capitao is banned out. You might consider a construction take a little bit easier, but for them, this is the way they want to take it. Benji now losing his ADS, and he's got to run away because there's sure to be a frag grenade to follow it up. Achieved is famous for these, and there it is. Locking it down, Benji goes down, and that's the first kill of the round, gets traded.
Pretty advisable for Dream to make the rotate back towards red, because it means that he's not holding the position directly to the left of the breach. But TSM need to work with the time that they've got. They do have 50 seconds. They've got diffuser. They don't have smokes in this case. So Shala opting for the flashes to help work on the Raptors. Flush does work, and Merc is there running cover. How many nitro cells do we have? 3 right now for Mirage. So there is the potential for them to still play this from below or to chuck those nitros from their defensive positions at cash, because no one is pressuring from construction. So for TSM, this is a pretty linear take from plat wall and from Rafters. And this is Mirage having to bunker down and defend for as long as possible. Dream wins the fight against Achieve, but the plant is still going to be attempted. One nitro cell goes in, doesn't stop it. Dream with 2 kills. Bolo needs to hold this cross. Shala gets the diffuser down, and we enter a post plant. Bolo needs to hold this cross as long as he possibly can. Another nitro cell doesn't work out. Here comes the crossing fire. Bolo with 1. Mozzie runs outside looking for a kill, but he doesn't come back to serve a window, but he will finally take down Shala. Bolo needs to keep his team in this match. Well, down 1 player. Nyx with Dream on low HP. This still might be accomplishable for Bolo, but he needs to hold firm. Counter defuse attempt coming out from Nyx. All of a sudden, it turns into a winnable situation, but it's not something he can stave off forever. Mirage keep themselves alive in the North American League. They will not go to relegations. Heartbreak for TSM FTX.
And Mirage, they're going to be the ones celebrating today. TSM still potentially in an alright situation. They're losing that round, but they're still potentially in a top 4 spot.